There is something strange that happens to many people, and the most surprising part is that they usually don't notice it while it's happening. Confidence doesn't always disappear suddenly. It rarely vanishes in one dramatic moment. Most of the time, confidence fades slowly, through a series of small experiences that seem harmless when they happen. And very often, the people responsible for that change are the same people we interact with every day. Someone might laugh at one of your ideas. Someone might question your decision in a casual tone. Someone might compare you with another person who appears more successful. None of these moments seem powerful enough to change how you see yourself. But when these small experiences repeat over time, something begins to shift inside your mind. You start thinking a little longer before sharing your opinion. You hesitate before making a decision. You wonder whether your ideas are really good enough. And slowly, almost invisibly, your confidence begins depending on how other people react to you. Confidence is not simply a personality trait that some people are born with and others are not. It is a psychological state that grows or weakens depending on experiences, feedback, and social interaction. Every human brain constantly interprets signals from the environment. We observe how people react to our words, our ideas, and our actions. Those reactions quietly influence the way we evaluate ourselves. When the people around us respond with encouragement, respect, and support, our confidence grows stronger. We feel safe expressing ideas and trying new things. But when the environment around us repeatedly introduces doubt, criticism, or comparison, something very different begins to happen. The brain gradually becomes more cautious. Instead of focusing on possibilities, it begins focusing on avoiding mistakes. Instead of expressing ideas freely, it begins filtering every thought through the question, "What will people think about this?" This is how confidence erosion begins. Think about common conversations people have with friends, coworkers, or family members. Someone might say something like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" At first, this sounds like reasonable advice. But imagine hearing similar reactions again and again whenever you talk about a plan or ambition. After a while, your brain starts expecting that doubt before it even happens. You might start editing your own ideas before sharing them, just to avoid criticism. Another common pattern appears through humor. Someone might joke about your abilities, your appearance, or your goals. They might say something like, "Relax, I'm just joking." But the brain does not always treat repeated jokes as harmless entertainment. When the same type of joke appears frequently, the mind begins interpreting it as information about how others see you. Gradually, those jokes start shaping your self-image. Comparison is another powerful influence. Someone might casually mention how another person achieved something faster or performed better. Maybe they say, "Look how successful he already is," or "Most people your age are already further ahead." Even when these comments sound motivational, repeated comparison often produces the opposite effect. Instead of inspiring progress, it creates quiet self-doubt. Before continuing, take a moment to think about your own experiences. Have you ever had a conversation where nothing openly negative was said, yet you walked away feeling slightly less confident than before? If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Many people experience this pattern without recognizing it. And if this topic is helping you understand something new about human behavior, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It helps more people discover this type of psychological content, and it allows us to keep exploring these topics in future videos. One of the most common ways confidence gets weakened is through constant questioning. Instead of directly criticizing someone, a person repeatedly asks questions that imply doubt. Over time, those questions plant uncertainty in the mind. Another tactic involves subtle emotional reactions. When someone expresses excitement or ambition, the other person may respond with sarcasm, silence, or skepticism. This reaction sends a signal that confidence or enthusiasm is unwelcome. Eventually, the brain begins suppressing those expressions automatically. There is also the pattern of social comparison pressure. By repeatedly highlighting other people's achievements, someone creates the impression that you are falling behind. Even when that comparison is inaccurate, the emotional effect can still weaken confidence. These patterns rarely feel like direct attacks. Instead, they appear as normal conversations. The most important insight to understand is that confidence erosion usually happens gradually. No single moment destroys confidence completely. Instead, confidence weakens through repeated experiences that introduce doubt into the mind. When the brain repeatedly receives signals suggesting that your ideas are not strong enough, your goals are unrealistic, or your abilities are limited, it begins adjusting expectations accordingly. This adjustment happens quietly. You may still believe in yourself to some extent, but the certainty becomes weaker. The voice inside your mind that once said, "I can do this," begins asking, "What if I can't?" The moment awareness enters the situation, the dynamic begins to change. When you start paying attention to how certain interactions influence your mindset, you gain a new perspective. Instead of automatically accepting every comment as truth, you begin evaluating it. You notice patterns in how people communicate. You observe whether their feedback is constructive or simply dismissive. Sometimes the people who introduce the most doubt are not intentionally trying to harm you. They may simply be projecting their own fears or limitations. But regardless of intention, the psychological effect remains the same. Awareness allows you to separate your self-belief from the reactions of others. Protecting confidence does not mean ignoring all feedback. Constructive criticism can help people grow. The key difference is that constructive feedback focuses on improvement while still respecting your potential. Confidence-breaking behavior, on the other hand, repeatedly introduces doubt without providing helpful guidance. When you notice patterns that consistently make you feel smaller, uncertain, or discouraged, it may be helpful to rethink how much influence those voices should have in your decision-making. Confidence grows when it is protected, supported, and reinforced through positive experiences. Your confidence is not simply a reflection of talent or ability. It is also a reflection of the environment surrounding you. The people you spend time with, the conversations you have, and the feedback you receive all influence how you see yourself. By becoming aware of the patterns that weaken confidence, you gain the ability to protect one of the most important psychological resources you have. Confidence allows people to pursue ideas, take risks, and build meaningful achievements in life. And protecting that confidence is one of the most valuable forms of self-awareness. If this video helped you understand something important about human behavior, consider liking the video and subscribing so you don't miss future discussions about manipulation, psychology, and self-awareness. And I'd like to ask you one question. Have you ever experienced someone slowly weakening your confidence without realizing it at first? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone else recognize the same pattern in their own life. Thank you.